from this disaster for months.
Anybody recognize this shoe? If you lost anything to the Merrimack River, chances are it may have washed up right here.
Tonight, Lawrence remains a tale of many cities. What's still wet, what's dry, and what's dark.
I've got new information just in on those flooding rivers, and it's welcome news.
Seeing the floodwaters from ground level is powerful, but from the air, it is really something else.
This is CBS 4 News, live at 11.
The tides are turning after our record rainfall. These are live pictures from Lowell now. Parts of the Merrimack River about to fall below flood stage.
And as the rivers recede, the long recovery begins. These are pictures from Lawrence as people finally start returning home.
And new pictures tonight from above the flood zone. The Sky Eye aerials give us the best look yet at widespread destruction. Good evening, everyone. Glad to have you with us. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm Jack Williams. We're just realizing the true extent of the damage. The cleanup from this disaster will last well into the summer. We have team coverage from flood recovery to developing news on several major rivers. We begin with Christina Hager, live in Newburyport. Christina, the debris washing up there is polluting several popular beaches on the North Shore.
Well, Jack, all week we have seen the images of flooded out backyards and basements and parking lots. Well, basically, anything that floats was taken away by the rivers and brought here, much of it, tons of it actually, to Plum Island. We found one item from Goffstown, New Hampshire. That's about 60 miles from here upstream along the Merrimack River. Someone in New Hampshire is probably looking for this trash can.
Pretty choice trash there, I thought.
Some road along the Merrimack River missing this sign. Some child, this big yellow truck.
Entire boat docks right over there, and yeah, it's pretty bad. So, I mean, hopefully nothing too bad like chemicals or anything got washed down. So,
Plum Island, the end of the line for all the debris the Merrimack River has swallowed up over the last few days and spit up along about a mile of this coastline. This entire stretch of beach just littered with trash and maybe some treasure. Any of this could have come from any town along the Merrimack River. Oil cans and various chemical containers. It has some in this fishing community casting their lines aside.
Sewage, I mean, you don't know what's in the water now.
You don't want to get cut by something and then put your hand in the water. And
water contaminated not only with sewage, but no one really knows what else. Maybe the mate to this shoe, or perhaps the ball to this bat.
I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's obviously pretty disgusting.
And we have developing news now coming in from the North Shore and the damage the floodwaters are still causing. Parts of Route 1A in Beverly are now closed after the road collapsed. The debris also ruptured a natural gas line near Cabot Street. Neighbors we just spoke with told us that they're on standby to evacuate. Now, again, we'll keep on top of this. This is in Beverly. We'll bring you any new information just as soon as we get it.
There is some encouraging news, though. After days of stormy weather, a parting shot of rain hit the North Shore earlier this evening. Our team coverage continues now with Ken Barlow. And Ken, I know you have some information about several of these rivers.
I do, Lisa. The good news is they do continue to recede. They continue to get lower and lower, and slowly they're falling out of flood stage. The bad side of it is that it's been a couple of days now since the peak, and we're still now at a couple of these points. We've had to push the time back a little bit. Not Nashua. You should still go below flood stage sometime just after midnight, overnight tonight. The area, though, to the south around Lowell, now it looks like Friday morning will be the time when the rivers finally get to flood stage or below. And then below flood stage at Methuen now looks like Friday rather than late tomorrow night. And at Lawrence, it looks like 5 o'clock Friday morning instead of late Thursday night. So although some of the times have been pushed back a few hours, we are still expecting the rivers to continue to recede. With more on the river at Lowell at the Merrimack, we go to Mish Michaels out in the field. Mish?
Hey, Ken, here in Lowell, we are drying out once again tonight. A couple of showers just recently scooted through, leaving behind about 0.2 of an inch, not adding to the flooding concerns, but certainly not helping the problem. Over my shoulder, there you see it, the Whitewater Rapids. Perhaps you can hear it too. This is what locals call the mighty Merrimack. It is still now above flood stage by about 2 feet, But moderate flooding is just about done, and based on river gauge levels and local hydrologists, the forecast is for the river to finally go below flood stage by early Friday morning. So as the waters continue to go down, the memories certainly here remain, and the cleanup is just about to really, truly get underway, tackling some of the worst flooding along the banks of the Merrimack that residents have seen here since the 1930s. Live in Lowell, I'm Mish Michaels, CBS 4 News.
Governor Mitt Romney has asked President Bush to declare the flooding a major disaster for Massachusetts. That would speed up federal relief to homeowners and businesses. Governor Romney says the state officials want to get an early idea of what the federal government is going to do to try to help.
We want them to begin with their assessment and their support level. Then we'll take action that we need to take, and then, of course, we'll look to communities to participate as well.
And that relief can't come soon enough for the thousands of families forced from their homes.
Beth Germano picks up our team coverage now live in Lawrence. And Beth, they have to inspect all these homes before people can move back.
And that's to make sure, of course, that they are still inhabitable. Incredibly, in the last hour, more rain. And that's like an insult in this Myrtle Street neighborhood, where behind me, a ball field is underwater. And beyond this police barricade, homes remain submerged and people are without power. We got a first-hand look at the devastation with the National Guard. From their perch above the floodwaters, the 1058th Transportation Company is on patrol.
It's real desolate. There's really nobody in those houses anymore. You go one block over, it's just like nothing ever really happened.
Except for their sloshing on some streets in eerie silence. A still life of debris-filled backyards and cars submerged. Then a police escort in a bucket truck to help Frank Torres return for much-needed clothing.
And the water just rises so quickly that, you know, we didn't have time to think, just get out.
We know what that street is.
This team has spent 3 days maneuvering through river-like roads to get to these now unreachable homes.
There was a family of, I want to say 11, that were cooking breakfast when the water was still rising because they were on the second floor, didn't think that it would affect them.
I didn't want to leave.
And now Alta Gracia Puerto Real returns to her neighborhood with generators nonstop. Water-soaked possessions hauled away, and she makes a last stand.
I'm going to try to, sleep tonight because there's no electricity. I'm afraid, somebody is going to get into my house.
But some residents can't return for days or weeks, and the National Guard will be one of their only connections to home. Frank Torres can't yet think of what he's lost.
Waiting for this to get over so we can start crying. We don't have time for that now.
Where we are standing, there was water yesterday, and tonight crews are still going up and down Myrtle Street here on patrol, giving people a last opportunity to get some of their possessions. Some are still in shelters, some are staying with family and friends, and some left, and no one's quite sure where they went. Reporting live from Lawrence, I'm Beth Germano, CBS 4 News.
Well, this felt like a breakthrough today. Traffic is moving once again on Route 1 north of Boston. The road fully reopened this evening. Floodwater had closed it for days from Saugus all the way to Linfield. And the detour caused headaches for commuters. It also cost businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars.
To truly see the scope of the flooding and the widespread damage, the best view is from above. Ken McLeod flew in Sky I-4 just before sunset tonight for a very unique look at a disaster that has touched so many communities.
This waterlogged Beamer was still abandoned in the middle of Foster Street at 7:03 tonight, but downtown Peabody is getting better. Canoe is still the only way to reach some spots, though, and several businesses here still have floodwaters perched at their doorstep. At 7:12, Route 1 in Saugus is not only open in both directions, but traffic is looking good. Nearby, though, pumps work to spit the water from a low-lying parking lot so IHOP can try to get back into the pancake business. At the Topsfield Fairgrounds, the Ipswich River still claims Route 1. And on a nearby road, a driver who apparently tried to get around the water hazard left behind proof it didn't work. The Millyard Dam on the Powwow River is still holding, and at 7:39, a pretty good crowd was still on hand in downtown Amesbury to watch as the water carved away at the foundations of some riverside businesses. Again, hope at the end of the rainbow. In Methuen, the Diamond is still drowning in the ball fields alongside the angry Spigot River, where at 7:54, a National Guard Hummer was helping to reroute traffic around a flooded stretch of Route 28. By 8:03, however, the once closed 114-495 interchange in North Andover has all but dried out. But the plywood going up at once flooded Friendly's indicates it won't be opening anytime soon. With virtually all of the flooding rivers continuing to recede overnight, some of the water you just saw is likely to be gone by morning, replaced by a layer of nasty muck. In Sky, Ken McLeod, CBS 4 News.
But there is some encouraging news coming out of Haverhill. Work crews hope to have a temporary sewer line in place by tomorrow. The original pipe spilled millions of gallons of sewage right into the Merrimack River. As a precaution, officials are warning people to stay away from standing water.
The record rains have closed the shellfish industry from New Hampshire to Cape Cod. Health officials are afraid the floodwaters may have actually polluted the shellfish beds. And there is also growing concern now that conditions are ripe for the return of red tide.
And saturated ground may be to blame for a crane accident in Amesbury. The machine tipped over at a construction site with part of it falling on the roof of a house. Now, fortunately, nobody was hurt.
Tonight, if you need help, there is a place to go for flood-related questions. The state has established a hotline. It's a toll-free number, 1-800-293-4031. You can also log on to our website for a list of resources and an extended look at those aerials over the flood zone.
On the hunt for Jimmy Hoffa, a renewed search 30 years after the Teamster boss disappeared.
Bottoms up, why the Navy sank one of its warships.
And I'm Ken Barlow. For the first time in 9 days, not a drop of rain in Boston. We'll see how long our luck will last when we come back.
Shopping with your cell phone.
It takes the cameras that are built in on the cell phones and essentially uses them as a scanner.
It's free software that can help compare prices and save you money. CBS 4 shows you how well this technology really works. Coming up next on CBS 4 News. You're watching CBS 4 News.
These are live pictures coming in from Lowell. The Merrimack River receding and will soon fall below flood level. Ken will update the forecast. We'll do so in just a few minutes from now. But at this moment, let's look at the other news tonight. A major drug bust here in Boston. 200
pounds of marijuana stuffed inside a car. A car was loaded onto a tractor trailer in Arizona and then shipped to Massachusetts. And the 3 men who tried to take delivery of the car are under arrest. Police in Woburn are on the hunt for a couple of thieves targeting office buildings. Take a good look at this surveillance tape. These men have hit at least 10 buildings since January, stealing electronic equipment and laptop computers. Anyone with information should call Woburn Police.
News from around the nation tonight and renewed efforts to try to find Teamster boss Jimmy Hoffa. The FBI is acting on a tip and searching a horse farm outside of Detroit. Agents will only say they're looking for evidence of criminal activity. Hoffa disappeared, you might remember, without a trace back in 1975.
Wall Street takes its biggest hit in 3 years. With investors spooked about inflation, the Dow Jones lost 214 points. This drop comes as President Bush signs into law a 2-year extension of his tax cuts. He argues the bill will boost the economy, but Democrats contend it mostly benefits the rich.
An aging warship goes down with a bang off the Florida coast. The Navy deliberately sank the USS Oriskany in the Gulf of Mexico today. The aircraft carrier will form the world's largest artificial reef. The ship served during the Korean and Vietnam Wars. It also was used as a show of force during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Now tonight's special report, focusing on the future of shopping and the new technology that lets you find the best deals by using your cell phone. Scott Wally introduces us to Scan Zoom.
The camera's going to take a picture of the barcode.
Point and shoot is taking on a whole new meaning.
It takes the cameras that are built in on the cell phones and essentially uses them as a scanner.
A shopper then gets valuable information while still in the store.
I think it's a great tool, good to give consumers as much comparison shopping information as possible.
So how does this work? The barcode is sent to Amazon.com and internet pricing engines. Take, for example, this set of children's DVDs. Suggested retail price $21.99. Our phone tells us it's available at Amazon for $19.99, but better yet, through another retailer for just $8.74.
That's a huge savings. So you can click on here to go to this retailer.
And if you're looking at books,
it gives you Amazon's reviews as well.
This technology is the brainchild of ScanZoom.